disgusted with the sun today. Nothing. I repeat, nothing in there about the wedding. Normally they're on it. Kim and Kanye. Justin Timberlake off marrying his wife in Italy. Scuba divers getting married underwater. Predictions that one day man and woman will marry on the moon. But nothing, I repeat, nothing about the first ever interspecies wedding between an ape and a human. Sorry, that was bullying, wasn't it? Take it back. Oh, I know it's a bit of a side here, but Cliff Richard. It's honestly, last week I bought a commemorative Cliff Richard plate with a gold signature and I put it up in my bathroom. And it's not coming down until he's found guilty. That's true. Anyway, I suppose I should introduce myself. There's probably a lot of you here who don't know me. Some of you do. There's a big sort of group of people that I went to college with over there. It's really nice to get everyone together again. But my name's Lawrence, and I've known Sam for quite a while. I suppose we became really good friends in late teens. As I said, we were part of a really big sort of friend group at college. But the first time that I was aware of his existence within this universe and on this planet and in this realm that we call life would have been karate. I think it would be 15 years ago. Keith was a brown and white belt at the time. Sam had floppy hair and Bonnie was absolutely terrifying to spar against. But you know, time passed and we all went to school, we all went to different high schools, things like that. And we bumped into each other at Paston College. If I remember right, it was actually a media studies lesson at the time. Christian was on my table, maybe Tom was on the... No, that's a lie then. And all of a sudden there was this man sat there who I definitely recognised. And I had a few thoughts about him at the time. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them. My first impressions were disruptive, vulgar, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, and another exclamation mark. Being friends with Sam is actually quite rewarding. Can't think of anyone more loyal or trustworthy. You know, he's genuinely a pleasure to be around. There's something about him where people are naturally drawn to him and they do want to be with him. But it does have its downsides as well. There was a time when he had a bit of a habit of getting us all into trouble. One story in particular was when we were the most wanted men in East Anglia for an afternoon. I'm going to try and keep this short. It was only in the paper, it was about that long, so I should be able to condense it down. But basically one day I needed a pair of shoes, and I think there's some Fred Perry shoes, I had my heart set on them, and I was wearing flip-flops, and I went into Shoe to try the shoes on, but because I didn't have any socks for hygiene reasons, they wouldn't let me put them on. So the man came out with a pop sock, which is a bit like, made of, stockings or tights, something like that and small. And I popped it on, which was great, bought the shoes, left, put the pop sock in my pocket for some reason, and as we're walking down Gentleman's Walk, bear in mind that Sam looked quite different back in the day. He wasn't the cuddly, furry man you see now. He used to bick his head. He was wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, a bit thuggish, really. He decided to pop the stocking over his head and walk down the road, and it was hilarious. We all laughed, we all took pictures, and that was that. He took it off again. And then we got in the car to go back out home. We were driving towards Elsham, and the pop sock comes back on over the head. Only this time, there's a cap gun on the floor of the back seats. I think Tom had been, or someone, Christian, had been to Disneyland. And Sam thought it would be a good idea to undo the window, lean out, and wave this gun with the stocking over his head at kind old ladies. I, for one, wasn't comfortable throughout all of this. Sat in the middle, squashed between him and Christian. And basically we're driving back towards Elsham. We go past the airport. All of a sudden there's a police car behind us. The paranoid side of me assumes they're following us. So I said it to the group, do you think that police car's following us? They were like, no, calm down, nothing to worry about. So we kept on going, and then we got to McDonald's, and I said, well, come on, let's go through the drive-through, see if the police car follows us. And we did. We went through, I bought a milkshake, or someone did, and the police car came through as well. Then we got to a roundabout, and a second police car joined the convoy. And then we got stuck in traffic between Norwich and Elsham. And at that moment I heard the worst sound that I've ever heard in my life. And it went something like this. Leaves blowing around, so there's 2 police cars and a helicopter on top of us. And as we move in the traffic, the car goes like this, the helicopter goes. By this time there's a helicopter, 3 police cars. We've tried McDonald's, that didn't work. So let's go down the country lane. We went down the country lane. So did the police cars, so did the helicopter. Eventually there was 4 police cars, helicopter. And I said, look, let's just stop the car and have a chat. Obviously something's going on. So we stopped the car. I said, let's all get out, go talk to them. I got out thinking everyone was with me. And as I approached the police car, he started reversing away from me. And I said, excuse me, I get the distinct feeling we're being followed. So put your hands on the back of the car. Okay. There's reason to believe you've got a firearm in the car. I was like, no. See, I went to go buy some shoes and we tried the pops off and all of that and we explained it. In the end, they realised we weren't criminals. Just to add, a few metres down the road, there was also a roadblock with policemen. They're all unloading machine guns at the time. And it turned out one of the policemen was one of my friend's dad, and it was all fine, and we all got let off.
And we had pictures taken.
One thing that wasn't a good idea, though, I mean, some of you must be familiar with the term shotgun when you want to sit in the front of the car. As we walked away and everything was fine, we all shouted, "Shotgun!" in the front seat. But, yeah. So not a highlight of my life, but thankfully Sam was still allowed to be a teacher and we all continue our lives. Anyway, as I said, it was in the paper, some of you might have read it. The reason why it all kicked off was because there had been a lot of robberies in the area by 4 young men in a long black car, which we were in. It's been mentioned he doesn't look like your typical primary school teacher, but I believe that one of the qualities of a good primary school teacher is to be a man or woman of many interests. Of course, you're teaching lots of different subjects. And just to name a few, I mean, obviously karate's been mentioned, survival expert, woodwork, I've written down, which is quite a few, bushcraft, but there is one interest that I just can't get behind. I know some of us of him are friends with him on Facebook, and you might have seen all the pictures of the cat's diarrhoea spewing up the walls. It's feces. He's fascinated with it.
I dig it.
I've got no idea why. There is a story involving me and Sam's feces, which I think I might share with you all. We all went camping one time, and Sam disappeared for a bit, and we all wondered where he'd been, and he came back very proud, walking along and said, "I've just done the world's biggest poo!" And as you are, 17 years old, all boys, you go and have a look. I'm sorry to lower the tone, but it was like that, orange, and it had a mousse-like consistency. All I can think is it must have been like expanding foam as it came out. I, at the time, thought it'd be a good idea to poke it with a stick. It was bloody hilarious, don't get me wrong. But as I dropped the stick, thinking that's the end of the story, I noticed the stick had a curve. And as it went down, the feces went up. And as we all know, we've all got a basic understanding of physics here. What goes up must. And I got his feces on my face. Luckily there was a bottle of Evian water to the side. No one at the time knew this happened actually, I handled it very well. I just walked off and I confided in Sam a few months ago to tell him that actually happened.
What's your name of the book?
Oh, the Orange Shocker. The orange that's about, there is one very inappropriate one, but I'm not going to say it because there are children present. So I'm going to cut it short there. But, you know, I'd love to raise a toast, not only to Sam and Katie, who are the bride and groom, but also to the 2 families that are joining today. I've got a lot of respect for both sides. I've got to know Katie's side a little bit over the past couple of months, and I have to say it's always been a pleasure to go out and look for the clothes for the wedding and go camping, things like that. I think you're a great bunch. And the Gibbons, obviously I've known you lot a little bit longer. I think you deserve all the happiness in the world, both of you. And yeah, I'd just love to raise a glass to them both. So to the Gibbons, the Thackers and all the rest of Katie's family, and to the bride and groom, we can all just raise our glasses and say cheers. Cheers! That's that, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, bride and groom will now cut their wedding cake. Please feel free to take some pictures.
Very carefully.
Yeah.